So once again, a very good morning to all the students. And here I'm back with lecture number 22 of operating system with the series of operating system here. And in today's lecture, we are going to see disk scheduling. So keep on learning and stay tuned with me to learn more concepts about disk scheduling. Now, before understanding what exactly is disk scheduling, let us first of all understand the objectives of disk scheduling here. So, as we can see, the objectives are just to select a disk request from the queue of input output request and decide the schedule when this request will be processed. Second objective is to reduce the seek time. The third objective of this lecture is to increase the throughput, the average number of requests satisfied per time unit. Then the next objective of the disk scheduling is to maximize response time, the average time that a request must wait before it is satisfied. And next one is to use the hardware efficiently using fast access time and large disk bandwidth that depends on the relative positions of the read write head and the requested data. Now, what should be the outcome of the disk scheduling? So, the outcome of this disk scheduling is to improve the performance of disk input output by reducing average seek time compared to the existing disk scheduling algorithm. Now, before starting with this, we have some prerequisites. Those are magnetic disk structure is required. One single unit of disk is called platter. This is required. Every platter is divided into circular shaped tracks. Then every track is further divided into sectors. Then the speed of the disk is measured with the help of transfer rate and random access time. Then there is a seek time and the rotational latency. So before going into the depth, let us first of all see some of the terminologies. So the very first terminology we see in this scheduling is called the seek time. Seek time is the time taken to locate the disk arm to a specified track where the data is to be read or write. So the disk scheduling algorithm that gives minimum average seek time is better. Now the next term is called the rotational latency. Rotational latency is the time taken by the desired sector of disk to rotate into a position so that it can access the read-write heads. So the disk scheduling algorithm that gives minimum rotational latency is better. Next term is called the transfer time. Transfer time is the time to transfer the data. It depends on the rotation speed of the disk and number of bytes to be transferred. Next one is the disk access time, which is given by seek time plus rotational latency plus transfer time. Now, as we know, a process needs two type of time, the CPU time and the input output time. For input output, it requests the operating system to access the disk. However, the operating system must be fair enough to satisfy each request, and at the same time, operating system must maintain the efficiency and speed of process execution. The technique that operating system use to determine the request which is to be satisfied next is called the disk scheduling. As we have already seen what is seek time, rotational time, transfer time, and disk access time, let us just consider what is disk response time. It is the average of time spent by each request waiting for the input output operation. Now let us first of all consider that what should be the purpose of disk scheduling. So here the main purpose of disk scheduling algorithm is to select a disk request from the queue of input output request and decide the schedule when this request will be processed. Now, what is the goal of disk scheduling algorithm? So, the very first goal of disk scheduling algorithm is the fairness, and second goal is the high throughput that it wants, and finally the minimal traveling head time. Now, what are basically disk scheduling algorithms? The algorithms that does the task of scheduling a disk are called disk scheduling algorithms, and they are in various form and they are of various nature. There are various algorithms that you can use for scheduling the disk. Here you can see the diagram. At runtime, the input output request for disk tracks comes from the processes. Then OS has to choose an order to serve these requests accordingly. These are the formulas and the terminologies that we have seen. Now, the order that the read and write head is moved to satisfy several input output requests determines the total seek time, it affects the performance, and the OS cannot change the rotational delay or transfer time, but it can try to find a good order that spans less time in seek time. So, if requests are selected randomly, we will get the worst possible performance. Now, these are some of the disk scheduling policies that we are going to see one by one. So, the first policy is first in and first out. Let us see what is it. So let us talk about FCFS scheduling algorithm or first in first out. It is the simplest disk scheduling algorithm which serves the input output request in the order in which they arrive. So there is no starvation in this algorithm. Every request is serviced. Starvation, we have already seen in the previous lecture. Starvation is a condition where a process is waiting for a very long time, but it has not been provided with the CPU or the other resources to get fully executed. Now, obviously, even this algorithm has got some disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? That the scheme does not optimize the seek time. Secondly, the request may come from different processes, therefore, there is the possibility of inappropriate movement of the head. Now, let us take one example of FCFS and understand what exactly does this algorithm do. Now consider an example where disk sequence of a disk with 100 tracks is 45, 21, 67, 90, 4, 50, 89, 52, 61, 87, and 25. Now head pointer starting at 50 and moving in the left direction. We need to find the number of head movements in the cylinders using FCFS scheduling. Now in this case, the number of heads scheduled will be 50 minus 45, 45 minus 21, 67 minus 21, 90 minus 67, 90 minus 4, plus 50 minus 4, plus 89 minus 50, plus 61 minus 52, plus 87 minus 61, plus 87 minus 25. Now, if you calculate all these things, you'll get the number to be P76. So this is how the requests are processed in, first out. Now, SSTF scheduling algorithm stands for shortest seek time first. This algorithm selects the disk input-output request, which requires the least disk arm movement from its current position, regardless of the direction. It reduces the total seek time as compared to FCFS, and it allows the head to move to the closest track in the service queue. Now, if you see the disadvantage here, it may cause starvation for some request, and the switching direction on the frequent basis actually slows down the working of algorithm, and it is not the most optimal algorithm as well. Now, again, let us understand this algorithm with the help of an example where we are considering a disk request sequence for a disk with 100 tracks, where the sequence is 45, 21, 67, 94, 89, 52, 61, 87, and 25. Now, again, we are assuming that the head pointer is starting at 50, and we need to find the number of head movements in cylinders using SSTF scheduling. Now the number of cylinders will be 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 6 plus 20 plus 2 plus 1 plus 65 plus 4 plus 17, which is equals to 136. So here you see the request for tracks far away from the current position may never be served if requests for closer tracks are issued continuously. And it always choose the minimum seek time. So this is SSTF. Now let us see the next algorithm, that is scan and C-scan. Now, when we talk about scan algorithm, it is also called as elevator algorithm. In this algorithm, the disk arm moves into a particular direction till the end, satisfying all the requests coming in its path, and then it turns back and moves in the reverse direction, satisfying requests coming in its path. It works in the way an elevator works. Elevator moves in a direction completely till the last floor of the direction and then turns back. So here the direction is actually reversed. Let us again understand this algorithm with the help of one example. Again, we are considering a disk request sequence for a disk with 100 tracks. So the sequence is 98, 137, 122, 183, 14, 133, 65, and 78. Now again, if we are assuming that the head pointer is starting at 54 and moving in left direction, we need to find the number of head movements in the cylinders using scan scheduling. Now in this way, if we see, the number of cylinders will be 40 plus 14 plus 65 plus 13 plus 20 plus 24 plus 11 plus 4 and plus 46, which comes out to be 237. So this is how the scan algorithm works. Then next we have C-scan algorithm. Now in C-scan algorithm, the arm of the disk moves in a particular direction servicing request until it reaches the last cylinder. Then it jumps to the last cylinder of the opposite direction without servicing any request. Then it turns back and start moving in that direction, servicing the remaining request. Now the example here is, again, consider a request sequence for a disk with 100 tracks. Now the sequence is 98, 137, 122, 183, 14, 133, 65, and 78. So head pointer starting at 54 and moving in left direction here. We need to find the number of head movements in cylinder using C-scan scheduling. So again, if you see here, what will happen? The number of cylinders crossed will be 40, 14, 199, 16, 46, 4, 11, 24, 20, and 13, which is equals to 387. So here the C-scan restricts scannings to one direction only. And when the last track has been visited in one direction, the arm is returned to the opposite end of the disk and the scan begins again. Now, in case of repetitive request to one track, we'll see arm stickiness in SSTF, scan, and C-scan algorithms. Now, the next algorithm that we are going to see is FScan. The arm stickiness in SSTF, scan, C-scan in case of repetitive request to one track. FScan uses two queues. When a scan begins, all of the requests are in one of the queues with the other empty. During the scan, all new requests are put into the other queue. Service of the new request is deferred until all the old requests have been processed. Now this is a comparison chart of FIFO, SSTF, scan, and C-scan. Here it is in front of you to just analyze which one is having, the number of track towers and which one is having good performance. So just see to it and analyze first of all. Students, you have to analyze after seeing this comparison chart. Just see to it and just analyze. Even just take these number of tracks accessed and try it yourself whether the answers are coming right or not, and then compare and let me know that what exactly you analyze after seeing all these comparison charts. So I hope you have already seen the comparison study and you were able to analyze by yourself that which this scheduling algorithm was best. Now there is one example that you need to trace the policies FIFO, SSTF scan, C-scan, F-scan for the following disk request. Each input-output request on a track takes 5 time units. At time O, the disk starts reading track 10 and the read-write head was moving to the larger track number direction. So here is the list, the time is given and the request to access track is given. Quickly calculate the answer according to yourself. So we have seen after doing and seeing all these types, we have seen this thing that file systems must be accessed in an efficient manner, especially with hard drives, which are the slowest part of a computer. As a computer deals with the multiple processes over a period of time, a list of requests to access the disk builds up. For efficiency purposes, all requests from all the processes are aggregated together. The technique that the operating system uses to determine which request to satisfy first is called disk scheduling. So let us just quickly recap what all we have learned today. In FCFS, we process the request in order they arrive without regard to the current position of the heads. So it has got a horrible performance. Then we have shortest seek time first algorithm where it moves the heads the minimum amount it can to satisfy any pending request. But this suffers from starvation. Next, we have seen the scan disk scheduling algorithm. It is an elevator which is designed to visit floors that have people waiting. In general, an elevator moves from one extreme to the other. Now, say the top of the building to the bottom, servicing requests as appropriate. The scan disk scheduling algorithm works in a similar way, except instead of moving up and down, the read-write heads move in toward the spindle, then out toward the platter edge, then back toward the spindle, and so forth. Now let me take you to the MCQ part. So here are the questions, and I'm going to take you to the MCQ part of today's topic. Let me present it before you. Try to answer the questions correctly. This is question number 1 and 2. You can see it on your screen, I hope. Quickly try to solve these two questions. Let me take you to the next set of questions. Question number 3. The set of tracks that are at one arm position make up a, and this is the next set of questions, question number 4 and 5. Let me take you to the next set of questions. Question number 6 and 7. When the head damages the magnetic surface, it is known as. And 7 question says a floppy disk is designed to rotate as compared to hard disk drive. Let me take you to the next set of questions. Question number 8 and 9. What is the host controller? And controller sends the command placed into it via messages to the controller. This is the last set of answers, that is last 10th question. This is question number 10. Try to answer correctly. What is the disk bandwidth? The total number of bytes transferred, total time between the first request for service and the completion on the last transfer, the total number of bytes transferred divided by the total time between the first request for service and the completion on the last transfer, and D, none of the above. So with this, I hope you all have learned a lot about this scheduling algorithms, and I hope you have learned very many things from this. Your questions were correct, and in case if you have any issues or queries, you can just type your comments in the comment section. You can type in your doubts, and I'll be happy to answer all of them. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Stay connected and keep tuned.